I had said that we were waiting for two persons, and one had just arrived. And so permit me to say we will discuss. In the person of Dr. Solomon Arase. I don't know why each time I see him, I don't see a policeman, I see a lawyer. Punishment. But with your guy in Jos, they form a crop of gentlemen police stars, and we look forward to a rewarding engagement. At this engagement is also to keep to our promises, one of which is to run this with time and every time you see a policeman, the ratio is 1 to 650. So, how does one policeman take care of 650 people? The UN standard is 1 to 450, which is even. This is the conversation we want to have. Should we have state police? So like I promised, we're about to kick off. And once we start, we're going to keep rolling. Gentlemen like us waiting. So there's been this very deep debate. Should the army be part of community policing? Given the Caribbean outfits, as we welcome Mutfwang. We may now sit. And of course, external security. So what role do they play in internal security, given the command structure as a commanding? Local barracks. Good morning. It's a continuous conversation. One that until we find lasting peace will keep on going. And it's quite interesting that all this conversation, this roundtable, this discussion will be one that will give back to these profound new things. If you have the program, I would Governor of Plateau State, Barrister Kelly Mutfwang.
Please, let's sit down. And my theory is that more than anybody else, the challenges of insecurity in Nigeria is an elite-created problem. When the elites conspire to lead the people in the wrong direction, we will continue to have this perennial crisis. It is the elite that help us to expose and to define our fault lines. Many a times, communities that have lived in peace, you're going to find that even when the poisoning of the mind begins in the community, when the elites take leadership and say it must stop, they will address it adequately and it will stop. But when the elites fan the embers of hatred, they are the people that do the analysis that begins to skew knowledge, information, and poison the minds of ordinary people, then it will be sustained.
To just move on. Nigeria's security landscape has increasingly deteriorated with violent attacks, banditry, kidnappings, and terrorism, cutting across the 6 geopolitical zones. Amidst these challenges, Plateau State, which once bore the proud title Home of Peace and Tourism, has suffered recurring cycles of ethno-religious and resource-based violence. According to data report from the Observatory for Religious Freedom in Africa, Nigeria recorded 55,910 deaths from violent incidences between September 2019 and September 2023. Alarmingly, over 1,900 plus persons were killed in Plateau State alone between December 2023 and May 2025. It underscores the reason why we need to gather like this. Now, despite efforts by the federal and state governments, peace remains elusive. The prevailing centralized policing architecture has been increasingly overwhelmed, often arriving at attack sites long after the assailants have dispersed.
The security challenges we face today require more, not less policing, not only of operations but of decision-making itself and bringing closer to the communities. And so this roundtable, I believe, offers us an opportunity to reimagine the security architecture and find ways of empowering our communities to be first responders while remaining accountable to legal and policy structures. Part of our work, one of the platforms we have is the community security dialogues, and we often look at these things. Again, we had a convening yesterday where one of our key speakers emphasized also this point about how peace and security are closely aligned and we actually cannot be divorced from this conversation. So these conversations underscore the point that policy must move from rhetoric to action, especially regarding state responsibility in security provisioning. To quote Professor Best, Nigerians do not need to be taught how to live in peace, but rather the state must close the gap in policy and enforcement of security. This underscores why state and community policing frameworks must not only exist on paper, but be implemented with consistency, clarity, and collaboration. It is in this regard that we continue our engagements and are also involved in this particular convening and others that are already planned to look at the same issue and also the issue of state policing.
In response, we propose an alternative that retains the strength of the state policing, such as proximity, community integration, and accountability within the reimagined community integration and accountability within the federal policing framework. This approach offers a balanced solution that preserves national cohesion, professional oversight, and operational discipline while delivering the responsiveness and rootedness that state policing seeks to achieve, the model that we propose. We advocate a regional policing model within the federal structure, rooted in the federal character principles and optimized strategic deployment, resource sharing, and accountability. Specifically, we recommend the following configuration. Recruitment and training of officers should be made central, while the authority of Nigerian Police Force and is currently practiced ensuring adherence to national curriculum and values. Deployment must become geographically and culturally grounded, such that non-commissioned officers from the rank of police constable to the inspector of police are posted within their local government areas of origin, where their local knowledge, language, fluency, cultural familiarity will enhance their proficiency.
But I think we need to look at it broadly. We need to understand it. Exactly 5,556 police stations in Nigeria. Less than 2 police stations per jurisdiction. Tough conversation. It's also very important to note all the way up, such that a PC2 private constable gets barely 84. So, I will, in no particular order, call on set from Palace to Pulpit. Permit me to call the representative first of His Royal Highness Jacob Giambuba, if he's here. Is also part of this interesting conversation. Brigadier General Jonathan, he's an MNI like Mutfwang, I always say like myself, the MNIs, and they're also.
How do we ensure adequate resource mobilization for effective policing at local level? On states and local governments to have their own policing formations. And finally, how do we